So now the thing had come after all, which he had been able to foresee, but not to prevent. Frida had left him. It could not be final. It was not so bad as that. Frida could be won back. It was easy for any stranger to influence her, even for those assistants who considered Frida's position much the same as their own. And now that they had given notice, had prompted Frida to do the same. But Kay would only have to show himself and remind her of all that spoke in his favor, and she would rue it and come back to him, especially if he should be in a position to justify his visit to these girls by some success due entirely to them. Yet, in spite of those reflections, by which he sought to reassure himself on Frida's account, he was not reassured. Only a few minutes ago, he had been praising Frida up to Olga and calling her his only support. Well, that support was not of the firmest. No intervention of the mighty ones had been needed to rob Kay of Frida. Even this not very savory assistant had been enough. This puppet, which sometimes gave one the impression of not being properly alive. Jeremiah had already begun to disappear. Kay called him back. "Jeremiah," he said, "I want to be quite frank with you. Answer one question of mine, too, in the same spirit. We're no longer in the position of master and servant. A matter of congratulation, not only to you, but to me too. We have no grounds, then, for deceiving each other. Here before your eyes, I snap this switch, which was intended for you. For it wasn't for fear of you that I chose the back way out, but so as to surprise you and lay it across your shoulders a few times. But don't take it badly. All that is over. If you hadn't been forced on me as a servant by the Bureau, but had simply been an acquaintance, we would certainly have got on splendidly, even if your appearance might have disturbed me occasionally. And we can make up now for what we have missed in that way. Do you think so? Asked the assistant, yawning and closing his eyes wearily. I could, of course, explain the matter at more length, but I have no time. I must go to Frida. The poor child is waiting for me. She hasn't started on her job yet. At my request, the landlord has given her a few hours' grace. She wanted to fling herself into the work at once, probably to help her to forget. And we want to spend that little time, at least together. As for your proposal, I have no cause, certainly, to deceive you. But I have just as little to confide anything to you. My case, in other words, is different from yours. So long as my relation to you was that of a servant, You were naturally a very important person in my eyes, not because of your own qualities, but because of my office. And I would have done anything for you that you wanted. But now, you're of no importance to me. Even your breaking the switch doesn't affect me. It only reminds me what a rough master I had. It's not calculated to prejudice me in your favor. You talk to me, said Kay, as if it were quite certain that you'll never have to fear anything from me again. But that isn't really so. From all appearances, you're not free from me. Things aren't settled here so quickly as that. Sometimes, even more quickly, Jeremiah threw in. Sometimes, said Kay. But nothing points to that fact. This time, at least neither you nor I have anything that we can show in black and white. The proceedings are only started, it seems, and I haven't used my influence yet to intervene, but I will. If the affair turns out badly for you, you'll find that you haven't exactly endeared yourself to your master, and perhaps it was superfluous after all to break the hazel switch, and then you have abducted Frida, and that has given you an inflated notion of yourself. But with all the respect that I have for your person, even if you have none for me any longer, a few words from me to Frida will be enough. I know it, to smash up the lies that you've caught her with. And only lies could have estranged Frida from me. These threats don't frighten me, replied Jeremiah. You don't in the least want me as an assistant. You were afraid of me even as an assistant. You're afraid of assistance in any case. It was only fear that made you strike poor Arthur. Perhaps, said Kay. But did it hurt the less for that? Perhaps I'll be able to show my fear of you in that way many times yet. Once I see that you haven't much joy in an assistant's work, it'll give me great satisfaction again, in spite of all my fear to keep you at it. And moreover, I'll do my best next time to see that you come by yourself without Arthur. I'll be able to then devote more attention to you. Do you think, said Jeremiah, that I have even the slightest fear of all this? I do think so, said Kay. You're a little afraid, that's certain. And if you're wise, very much afraid. If that isn't so, why didn't you go straight back to Frida? Tell me, are you in love with her?